Hi and welcome to Dynamic DCUO, Haunting Wind here, and today we're going to be looking at our 2023 Hard Light Loadout. Now let's start with the artifacts. Now I'm running the Transformation card as well as the Strategist card, still kind of experimenting with them, and I love the Grimorium because at level 140 it activates your power interactions for you. As you can see, my artifacts and my augments are not terribly high, except for the Origin augments, they're getting up there. I consider this a very medium level character, 375 for my skill points. So I'm decent level, but I'm well under max. Now for the loadout itself, pretty self-explanatory. I like the Spike Quake just because it knocks the enemies off balance, and you can use it a lot very quickly. Everything else is pretty self-explanatory. Depending on what you like to do out of the loadouts, I like to be able to switch around and do things. So as you'll see when I go through this, instead of going through hardcore just trying to kill everything as fast as possible, I'm going to screw around a little bit and use some of the different options that you can switch to having hard lights. One of the fun things about the power set. And of course I'm going to be running my pet. I will say I don't run it with everyone, but I do run it with a lot of them. One more thing with this loadout is I do like to switch to triage when I'm going into the boss fight. Hopefully I'll remember to do that this time, because that or a second hard light shield from the iconic power set. As you see going around here though, taking on the regular guys, it's no issue. I mean, I can dink around all day long and they're never going to pose any real threat to me. However, I do like to run around here just to get used to running the power set. Like, I've been sick, so I haven't run this power in a week. So it's always nice to run around the city for a second, get the feel of things before you jump into a solo. But we're going to take it into the elite solo, and that's where you need the extra hard light shield or the triage. At least I do with these skill points, but you shouldn't have a problem getting through there. I think I started going in as soon as I was eligible level wise, and just ran with 2 shields with 1 lantern, and with this one I ran with the triage and was able to get through within about 10 and a half minutes. And I think this particular solo is a pretty good evaluation of a power loadout for a character who likes to run solo, or like myself and Vami, we run in pairs or solo. We rarely run in a group of 4 or 8. Occasionally we do, especially for stuff like the events. But for normal play, other than the big 8-player stuff in the zone, we just don't have the time to sit and wait on groups, or the hands to really deal with the long run. So this loadout may not be for everybody, but we found this to be very effective for everything we have done. And unlike Vami, I have taken this into a couple 4 and 8 player loops just for the fun of it, when I do have the hands, and I've done fine. I've been in the top 2 to 3. I did get really creamed in one of them, but in damage I still stay in the top 2 to 3 usually. But again, this is more of a let's run around and do kind of everything in the game at a decent level. Really excel in some things. And as you can see, like I said here, I'm screwing around to a good degree. I didn't go for a big group kill there. I started boxing one of them at the end, because this is a fun power set. I mean, the ability to switch between all kinds of different powers, like the grasping hand, the miniguns, it just makes it a lot of fun, especially if you've used it for a long time like I have. Now, as far as using this for controller, I haven't done controller in 6 years with this power set, so we will not be covering any of the role modes with any of the power sets this year. However, we are going to go through all of them in a damage and support role, like not a support role, but a damage and group roles. Because again, while we don't run 8-player stuff often, and with the skill points not being in the 500 range, with a real serious group, you're not going to be competitive. But with your average group, you should still do just fine. I hate to say it, but people really think that there's a lot more of these high-end elite players out there than there really are. I run a lot of groups for like the seasonals and stuff. Plus, I run around a lot, and I get to see a lot of other characters. And even when I go into the 8 players and 4 players, or do random duos, I'm rarely in a group with somebody stronger than me. And I'm not that strong. Now, when I get in a group with some guys that are, what I would consider elite players, oh, it's a massacre if you're keeping track for your own personal accounting. But Yeah, for average everyday run around, I just don't run into that many guys that are super strong. We're all kind of in the same area or a little bit lower. I mean, I'll run into one or two that are a little bit stronger, but it's not one of those things where you're going to be running into these guys all the time who are, you know, 5-6 levels higher than everybody else you run into with 200 to 300 more skill points. Those guys tend to stick together. And again, going through here, you can see I'm messing around with these guys. I'm using a spinning weight. I'm, you know, jumping between them. Really just kind of playing around, so it's not a real threat in here for me. And with all the power sets that I've been in here with, once you get into at least the 383 level, it's really, you should be able to go through here without dying, without any issue, unless you just aren't paying attention. Like I said, I'm playing around in here pretty good, just, like I said, screwing off, and I'm not going to die. Now, if you're someone who doesn't like to do solo runs and duo runs a lot, and you're strictly looking for something like a role-specific loadouts or high-end elite DPS, I would recommend Obsidian Chill. His channel is fantastic for that kind of stuff. He also gets into some very deep dives on like your artifacts, your henchmen. So I would definitely give him a look if you're into role-specific, or if you're into elite play. He does some very high-end stuff. But for us casual players, as you can see there, I'm again kind of playing around, letting them jump around and get behind me and stuff. When you first come in here, if you come in at right at level, you really want to keep them from getting behind you, because they seem to do a lot more damage when they get behind you. Also, the spinning weight, I have tried replacing it with the iconic power, or the movement mode. I think it's called Whirlwind, where you fly around them. And they have they're similar. You could really make that a preference. I do prefer the spinning weight because I can throw it, and because it does work off the power interaction, but the other one does just fine. Valmy really likes that one a lot. And I've noticed that I haven't had triage up the whole time, which that was something I'll generally load up before I go into greed. But since I forgot, we'll load it up here. Because it does make a difference. I've not figured out why, but sometimes Neuron hits you a lot harder than others. Especially when he goes into the 4 and you have to stand there basically befuddled for a second. Sometimes I have him do almost no damage, and other times he takes half my life. So I do like to have a little something extra in here. Now, see right here, sometimes you can break out, sometimes your shield will pop and let you break out of it, and sometimes it doesn't. And maybe it's something I'm missing in the solo, but I do think it's just a random kind of event. Just like how hard he hits you. But Light is also known for being a little bit squishy. It's like electricity. It's never been the toughest of power sets, so it does need a little defense. Valmy likes to do a lot of run and gun with ice, and with munitions, so me running Light with ice was always quite interesting. Because Valmy didn't have the need for the shields or to back off or anything, and I'm trying to stay toe-to-toe running hard Light while we were exactly the same skill points and everything. So, yeah, Valmy will get you killed if you're not careful. Because as he said, it's more fun to kill him in bunches. And easier. I'm sure y'all noticed he caught me kind of hard there. Nothing I could do about it. But luckily the shield came up. See if I can survive to my soda cola. Doesn't generally happen. That's much closer call than I normally have in here with Light anymore. But that can happen in here. Every once in a while, he seems to just come out of nowhere and really take a big chunk away from you. Not my best time through here, not my worst. But again, that's also just kind of playing around with the power, not so much trying to go through there as fast as I could, but having fun, showing the power you can kind of dink off. You don't have to be an expert with it, and you should still be able to get through at this level. So just wanted to show our medium level loadout and run. Well, we hope you enjoyed the content. If you like this kind of video, please click like and subscribe. Leave us some comments and suggestions. We'd love to hear from you, and until next time, thank you for watching and keep gaming.